4, 3, 2, 1.
They ain't never seen nothing like this before. Lit the room when I came through the front door. Ask me if I should overcome, what for? Train on the trees, please pardon my sycamore. Touch burning sands, cross lands, and stormy shore seasons in the year, yeah. Ain't no challenge for champions and chain no fear. Yeah,
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Happy Thursday, January 14th. You're watching Paleocrat Diaries, and I am your beloved host, Jeremiah Bannister. We're going to have an amazing show. It sucks because I totally started late, and I started late in part. Not entirely. I can't blame him entirely. It's not even his fault. But the network, there's a whole bunch of channels right now. We have 22 that we're supposed to be broadcasting over. Only 14 of them are running. Not a good thing, man. Not a good thing. So, looking at it and saying, man, and something was up with Facebook. So we're not even broadcasting on some of the normal channels, including my own profile. We don't know what's wrong with that, but Restream says that it's on it. So we're going to find out. But look, we don't have time for those apologies because we have a lot that we're going to need to talk about. We have only a couple funny stories. I don't want to be on too long today, okay? A couple funny stories. After that, a couple announcements. After that, we have I think it's about 10 minutes long, a clip from last night's post-show Q&A super show that we do every night now, where I take the comments that are posted. I take the comments and I just bust a move with them. So we put them all over the place. We spread it out all over the screen. I engage, and I think it takes about an hour of recording. We get it down to about 40 minutes, right? So we cut a lot of it out, but we try to keep it really trim and everything else. And so we are doing our best. We're doing our best, and I'm really grateful for you today. So just as a reminder, let's go ahead and just pop that up right now. Let me go ahead and get my other camera rolling, okay? I'm going to do that and do the window capture. So here's the deal, okay? If you're over here, normally we'd have a bot that would be running that would say the different channels that it's on. As I said, we're having technical difficulties with Restream. I'm not entirely sure what's going on. I don't even know if it's broadcasting right now over Paleocrat. I have no clue, because normally by this point, it is blam, all these comments. So look, you can be, I guess the second one, Judith. Oh, Judith, it's nice to see you, by the way. If you post a comment throughout the show, it will show up in here once the programs begin operating. It'll show up in this box. It'll begin to fill up big. You may not see the other people in the comments, okay? But what happens is all the different streams, all 14 that we're running on, are going to be funneling into this one stream. Okay. By the end of the show, it's packed. And so we have to highlight some, do some screen captures, and we put them together for a video, and we record the video later that night addressing the comments. That way, it's not kind of changing the flow of things during the show. Okay. So, which is totally a bummer. And by the way, apparently it said I just started on YouTube. Phil Morgan. That's not good, Phil. That is not good, dude. Because I've been busting a move here for a couple minutes now. And so not entirely sure what that's about. By the way, it was really good speaking to your very professional daughter and son-in-law, man. And son-in-law. I'm really excited about that. Going to have him on the show. There's going to be some amazing things they're going to do. So as you can see right here, we have one from Periscope. We have Phil commenting here and Ailey, okay? And she says that Paleocrat on YouTube now, but it has the same thumbnail as yesterday. It's okay. Don't even worry about that. So here's the thing. So you can see Periscope and YouTube. It'll have Facebook, Twitch, DLive, doesn't matter. As it begins going out, as the comments begin coming in, just trust that, number one, we see them. And number two, if you ask a really good question, or if you post a really great comment, we will highlight that in the show later on that evening that is posted exclusively at paleocratdiaries.com. Let's see, who would be a dream first? Okay, so that's going to be a question, humongous, that I will deal with, man. And I've had somebody on already. I've had a couple people, remember? I've had a couple people. But it's a good question, and I will answer that, man. I will answer that, buddy. So make sure to go check it out, because I think last night was the third one. Okay, so we've done 3 of them. They're really fun, really engaging, dealing with a lot of different questions on any topic. You don't even have to stick with the questions that I'm talking about. You can ask any question you would like. It doesn't matter. As long as it's crafted well, as long as it's not too long. I'll give exception to a couple people depending on what it is, but make it pithy. Okay, make it good, make it succinct, punchy, make it fun, and flattering if you like. Or critical. And if you're going to criticize, man, bring it on thick. Bring it on thick. You got to do it. So, okay, so here's the deal. We got to keep just moving right now, like right away. Okay, so we're moving on. I'll do a couple of these stories first before we get to the. Let me make sure the intro's up. There we go. Yeah, before we get to anything else. All right, we're gonna do this here. Let's get back up here. Before we move on, I got to show you guys this real quick, just real fast. Oh no, where's that? Why did I have that one pop up? Why did I have that one pop up? No. Where is that one? Where's the? Oh no. Okay, so that's supposed to be there. That's not supposed to be there. There we go. Gosh, man. I'm like, what's happening here? We're a professional show. What the heck's going on? Who can I blame for this? My brain is scrambling. I'm thinking of every member of my staff, and I'm like, I'm going to fire them. And then I realized that my staff happens to be a 2-year-old, right? and a 4-month-old, and my wife. And I'm like, ain't firing any of them, you know. They get the best of me. But here's the thing, guys. If you go right now, we're going to have it updated. We have not done it yet. We're going to have it updated so you can go to paleocratdiaries.com to find the store. And you can go, there's a link. If you go to all posts, there's a link specifically talking about our brand new store. It has the links all in there. Or you can go to Zazzle.com. And in Zazzle, just look up Paleocrat Diaries and you'll see it. But we've added a bunch of stuff. Okay? With these designs, you've got the stickers. You've got bottle openers, for crying out loud, keychains, and then look at those cool shirts. I picked out a couple different ones. I said, look at how professional you would look as the dude, right? The dude down in the bottom, he's going golfing or he's doing some kind of thing with the business. He's walking around having a business meeting. You're not going to look more professional and convincing unless you're wearing that shirt. So if you want to be an amazing businessman and you want to be somebody with a good golf score, you're going to need to get that shirt right there at the bottom. And it comes in different colors. Same thing with all of them, I believe, although I think the baseball shirt that the lady's wearing up at the top right, I think that only comes in black and white, I think. I tried finding one that might be black with white sleeves. I didn't see it, but I wasn't scurrying around too much over there. But you can go to the store, check it out, all different kinds of items. We have a couple different pictures that we're using. We found out we cannot use the Team Tiny Dancer family picture because there's a copyright on it, the woman who took the picture, and that's okay. We have other pictures of our daughter. We have other pictures of our family, and we'll go ahead and we'll use those instead. It is a bummer a little bit, but it's okay. You know, one door closes, many others open up, and so we're going to go ahead and look at that. But check out those shirts. Check out the sweatshirts, the gym outfit up there. I need to get that one. They're a little pricey, though, I got to admit. But you have to know that 100% of everything that we earn, whether it's those or whether it is the cups, okay? We have the Straight to the Dome mug. You've got that one. We've got other ones, too. For example, you've got the regular jumbo mug, right? You've got the bone china mug. And you've got, of course, Paleocrat Wolf Pack. That's the drawing my son Ambrose did. And you've got the espresso mug as well. So it comes in all different sizes. There's a whole bunch of information all about that. And so make sure to go check all of that stuff out. You got to do it. All right, here we go. And by the way, if you have any funny stories, man, that you would like to share with me, we're only sharing a couple today. We're keeping it really, really tight, compact, because we started so late. And as a reminder, just it's an announcement. It's not even a reminder. From now on, we're actually going to begin at 11 o'clock because it's going to allow me to wake up and not rush around all over the place, scrambling like crazy. You know, I've got kids and everything else. And so doing it at 11, it's cool, man. It actually kind of helps with intermittent fasting too. And so going to go ahead and do that. So, all right, if you have any funny stories, make sure mail them to us at paleocratdiaries@gmail.com. Here we go. I don't know what's going on here. I don't... Okay, so we've got a cow whisperer, apparently. Wait, who sent this? Where would you even find this anyway? Like, do you follow this lady? Is this what she does all the time? And how would you even know you have this gift? You know, how would you know? Did she just go out one day and decide I'm just going to sit by a cow and start strumming the guitar? Like, how exactly would she even learn that she has this ability? Did she discern it? She's asking the Lord, she's saying, Lord, help me discern my vocation in life. What do you want me to do with my life? And she felt impressed to go out into the field, start strumming a guitar, and then magically a mystical cow came walking up, and next thing you know, it's going to sleep on her lap. He works in mysterious ways, guys. I have no idea. Maybe it's the frequency of the tuning. I don't know. Maybe it's the frequency of the tuning. I'm not entirely sure. All right, what's this one here? Hold on a second.
All right, we're going to do part 2 on the fart bag, but we're doing it on my mom today.
Hold on. I have to see what this is because I can't hear it yet. Oh, no. I have to play it in order to have that go. Okay, here we go.
Part 2 on the fart bag, but we're doing it on my mom today.
Oh, what the heck, dude? Why are you guys sending me this crap? Oh, what?
You can't open it?
No.
Hold on. We got to see this one more time, all the way through. I am so sorry. I know that this is like, people are tuning in and they're like, he's dressed nicely. Okay, we've seen clips of him before. He goes deep into political economy and culture, civilization, all this other stuff, religion and philosophy. He does all that, man. He's, media theory. We know he goes deep, and they're here for that. And they're like, all right, what's he got for us? First, it was a woman who's playing guitar for, a cow. Playing guitar for a cow. And then the next one that we got is a dude, apparently, and he's TikToking, though. I don't know if I even believe that. I don't even know if I believe that. But he's TikToking it up, and he decides that he's going to do a fart bag and give it to his mom. And you see the reaction? You see how involuntary that was? Oh, dude, I feel badly for the mom. She's not the only one. There are some dudes like that. I know. There are dudes like that. I know one. I will not say his name, but let's just say I know him real well. And it's not me. I never. But I know a guy who on his wedding night, did a Dutch oven with his wife. Where you pass gas under the blanket or sheet and, lift it over somebody's head. Very inappropriate. I strongly discourage any gentleman from ever doing that. It will come back to haunt you. It will. And immediately the wife is going to lament the fact and regret it. I mean, what an impression, right? And isn't that kind of saying like, I got you now, you can't do nothing, woman? I mean, isn't that a little bit of what that is? Very inappropriate, dude. You do not, look, there should be a proverb or something that talks about do not Dutch oven your wife, your newlywed wife, on your wedding night. I think that's just what, there should be a rule, like some proverb. I'm going to come up with some proverbs. I'm going to have a book of proverbs, guys. I'm going to have it. We're going to have to, especially to do with animals and animal uprising. People are going to read it and be like, dude, what is wrong with this guy? But I'll always say, look, you might see some stuff wrong with me. I get it. I wear it on my sleeve. This dude right here, man, a fart bag with the mom, I would never do that to my mother. My mother, dude, I love her. I would do that maybe to when I was a kid, in high school. I would consider doing something like that maybe to a teacher in school. I think I used to do that with in typing class, we're sitting there on the keyboard and we're typing, and a teacher would come over, I'd ask for help, or drafting class or something. And they'd come over and lean over my shoulder, and it just hit them like a ton of bricks, and they'd be offended. I think I actually traumatized one. I was a bad guy. I'm giving you these stories not to boast. There's no boasting. You're not gonna go. Please don't go and be like, dude, Paleocrat's boasting about farting and calling his teacher over. No, I'm not. No, I will boast about not doing that to my mom, but I'm giving that as an example with the mother on how to treat people. You do not do fart bags. You do not do that. And I'm giving the example of the naughtiness that I did as a warning. So people, they'll realize that's not a good idea. You do not want to pass gas and call the teacher over acting as though you really are interested in some help and stuff. And all you really are interested in is that moment where the teacher, it hits them. They're alerted. Their senses are overwhelmed by the fact that you just ripped one. So that's a warning. But here we go. One more. I'm sorry, guys. And then we're on to serious stuff. I'm not going to go on forever. People are like, dude, this is bogus. What are you doing, Jeremiah? And I'm like, I'm having fun. Okay, here we go.
All right, we're going to do part 2 on the fart bag, but we're doing it on my mom today.
What a scumbag. Doing it on my mom today.
Mm-hmm. Open this up. I got lotion on my hands and I can't get
You can't open it?
No.
Oh, that's so bad. That is so wrong, dude. You do not get a good grade today. You are disciplined, dude. You are in detention all day long, bro. You are a bad guy. I cannot believe you did that to your mom. Like, you know, your mom's got to be a really good sport to do that. I mean, I don't know, though, man, because sometimes it's just the kid. Like this guy, he's a late blooming Tom Green or something. You know what I mean? Or Bam Margera or whatever. He's just a late bloomer on that stuff. He's just a late bloomer. So, okay. All right, here is the deal. Do we have it? Do we have it lined up in here? No, we do not. So I'm going to need to go back here to the main screen. Oh, got to get that thing off. Got to get it off. Got to get it off. Window capture. Okay. And I got to make myself bigger, man. What the heck? What is this all about? Okay. There we go. All right, now we're going to play a quick highlight reel. I think it's about 10 minutes long, and it gives you an idea. And I'm promoting this for a big reason. People are like, look, this is the third day in a row that you've done it. I'm probably going to do it every single weekday for a month, where it's going to be highlights from the video that I post. I put a lot of work into it. It is essentially an extra hour of the show. And what I'm hoping to do is to make it so that we would be able to have on the members only page, when the members only page goes live, when that happens it's going to be sooner than a month, but we're going to keep doing this for a month as a promotion. But that the members only, as soon as the show is over, members can go right over and we have an extra hour of the show. And then it'll be stored there, you know, so that if they aren't able to go watch it live, they're able to participate. And then I'll continue maybe doing something along the lines of the comments and stuff separately. We'll see. But the idea is to get people to go paleocratdiaries.com, go check it out, and just know that right now we're beginning to post regularly, basically every day. Now, sometimes it's pretty late, but we're going there and we're posting, and we're beefing it up, right? We're putting a store there, a members only page, all of that. We've had so many new subscribers, I cannot even tell you. It is awesome. It is totally awesome. So many new subscribers, and so they're beginning to get things on a regular basis, and that's what we want. We want to stay connected on a regular basis, but we only want to promote stuff that's actually worth your time. And so I wanted to make sure when I made this highlight reel, which is less than, I think it's about a third of the length of the full video, which can be seen only by going to paleocratdiaries.com. It cannot be seen on the Facebook page. It cannot be seen over at YouTube because it's an unlisted video. So you have to at least click on the link to bring you to paleocratdiaries.com. But we're adding things to it all the time, and we're really excited about it. And we're adding, of course, subscribers and members too. And remember, if you go over there and you love it and you want to be able to connect with it and not just be at home or on email, we also have a My Site app. So Wix has a My Site app, and you can add us. And every new post that goes out, and there are things even unique, I think, just to the app for announcements and stuff like that. And so we're learning a lot about it. And we're starting to fix up the website, seeing the flaws that were in it, seeing the weaknesses in it, and changing those things around. And we're investing time, energy, and even money into that. And we're really grateful for all of you. So right here, with no further ado, here we go with the highlights from unlisted comments from the post-show Q&A super show right here at Paleocrat Diaries. Do you feel that? Do you feel it deep inside your bones? I know you do. And you want to know how I know you do? Because you're tuned in right now to the greatest show on earth that's ever been made. Ever. Paleocrat Diaries, the post-show Q&A super show. Isn't it awesome? I love this. I love being able to come in, At night, kind of dress down a little bit, sit down, enjoy the time, go through the comments, because I'm always wondering, I'm always wondering, what are they talking about? So, okay, Phil Morgan talking about, let's see, strengthening your local parish is a good start. Okay, talking about where do we start when trying to make reform, when trying to restore all things in Christ, and looking at the world and all the craziness around us. What do you think we ought to do? Where should we start? And he said, strengthening your local parish is a good start. I agree with him totally. I think that, well, your own heart, okay, your family, your church, that core there, okay, that's a trifecta. That's a trifecta. You, your family, and your church. Those three things right there, that goes a long way. And at our church, we, about, I don't know, what, a year and a half ago, I think now, the priest there, he reached out to some folks, okay? He reached out to some folks to bring in some nuns. That's what he wanted, some sisters. I think, However, they're going to have to be ones that are traditionally vested, because the idea here is he wanted to create culture, so that when the families go into the church, the liturgy, the beauty, the grandeur, the art, the icons, the symbolism, everything all around, the music, the chanting, all of it would be iconic, so that it's separate, right? It's something separate. It's something that creates this. It's a bubble. It's true, but it's one of those bubbles that when you escape, you're covered in it. It's like the incense, right? I love it. I serve as a thurifer in the Latin Mass, and I think it's symbolic in that way that when I do that, I leave, and for the next however long, you can smell that incense all over me. I love it. Okay, Maya Han, you know that it is a really bad hair day when you have to literally shave your head. Maybe you missed the part where I said I could neither confirm nor deny that I was on a copious amount of hallucinogenic drugs. I'm not lying about that. I'm not confirming, I'm not denying, but I'm not lying either. It was a thing, okay? Maybe. That's taking it to a whole new level. It's true. But the thing is, the color it was before was ridiculous. Now, I don't know why I thought that that would be less preferable to, I don't know, looking like Uncle Fester, but it is, in the moment there was things going on, and I know it was like 4 a.m. too. It was like 4 a.m. I couldn't sleep, and I'm like, I regretted it. All right, Night Shift says, you are crazy. Yeah, I am crazy, dude. I gotta wear it on my sleeve though, dude. I gotta wear it on my sleeve, bro. And so I don't shy away from it, man. I let it. I was telling somebody that this show is really therapeutic, but part of that is that I'm just allowed to be crazy, and I've allowed myself to do that because it was a long time where I suppressed that wild man. I did. I suppressed it, pushed it down, and was like, I don't want anybody to see that, because if I act wild and I do my crazy thing and I'm growling and acting nuts and talking silly and everything, then maybe people won't like it. And I sit there now and I'm like, dude, it's best that I'm just me. It's best that I'm just me, especially for a format like this. So yes, dude, I'm crazy. In fact, that's my face right there for that emoji. Jonathan Filardo says, thank you for your good humor and passion. We need that. Thank you very much, dude. I give it my best every single day. And I try to be funny. I'm not a comedian, but I think, I'm a funny guy. I'm a funny guy. And so I was kind of the class clown growing up and everything, but I have a really fun time with it. And I'm willing to make myself look ridiculous. And so I think that that's part of it. And I think some of that too is having grown up watching a lot of Three Stooges, to be honest, man. It really is. I watched a lot of Three Stooges, Ren and Stimpy, Beavis and Butthead. Those were the kind of comedic influences in my life for a long time. South Park, of course. Those were comedic influences. Chris Farley, okay, that era of Saturday Night Live with Chris Farley, Adam Sandler, Norm Macdonald, that kind of stuff. But I appreciate it, man. I give it everything I got every day, and it's because of listeners like you and comments like yours that it's not only easy, but it is fun and fulfilling. So thank you very much. Okay, Holy Faith Media. Oh yeah, this show has direct integration on SP3RN, MeWe, Minds, and Gab. And don't forget, we have you on podcast after the show so that it's available both as a video and it's going to be available as an audio. So, all right, we are down. We are done now with the very first page. Here we go. We got to keep cruising along. All right. James says, Jeremiah, you said you were a delegate. Is there a benefit to it? Can it make a difference? And would you recommend it? Yes, I am a delegate. Is there a benefit to it? Yes, there's a benefit to it. You're engaged in a process that under ordinary circumstances, you would hope you can make a significant change. Some of the things you can do are significant, right? Going to county convention, being on executive committees. In fact, Maya, I commented to her earlier, she's running with another friend of mine. They're both going, they're running for different positions, and you need people in those positions. But the thing is that the right has traditionally a strange aversion to conversations regarding power. And they don't understand that it's inevitable because authority is inevitable. It's not, there's no leveling going on here in the conservative mind. It's just a fact. And so you sit there and you say, okay, so in the conservative mind, hierarchy and authority are real things. But authority is nothing if it has no ability, number one, if it has no power. Number two, if it has no way to enforce that. And so I think conservatives need to do better. They need to do better, especially just, people further down the totem pole. They need to do better about approaching a philosophy of power and realizing that you don't have to be an Alinskyite. You don't have to use those tactics. Some of them you may, but you don't have to be like, well, I guess I'm just all into Saul Alinsky now. You don't have to play that game to have a biblical, Western, conservative, traditional view of authority, hierarchy, and power. It's kind of like if you don't have an understanding of a man's fallen nature and the nature of sin and temptation, then you're just going to be really susceptible to it. And it's the same thing with this. If they don't have a philosophy of power and kind of an idea, an ethic on how someone should behave when they are in power, and not just reacting to the things you don't like and then forming what you think based on that, but something that is a positive position, rooted in something that is not contingent on the hypocrisy of other people and stuff like that, and is well constructed, consistent, coherent. I think that that's really important, and I think more individuals should study that kind of a thing. We'll talk about it on the show. I'd like to do a series on Machiavelli, for example. There's a couple other books too that I would like to do a series on. I'd like to do one on rules and on Reveille for radicals, both of them. I'd like to do it for both. Tactics of Christian Resistance. I've talked about that book. There's one. It's a French one by a Catholic guy. I always forget the name of the writer though. I think his last name starts with a V. And so I used to have the book. I don't know where it is. I got to buy a new copy of it. We'll talk about it because, and as well as Jonathan Haidt's book, The Righteous Mind, that goes into the moral foundations of, for example, hierarchy, right? Authority, that kind of thing. Is there a benefit to it? Yes. Can it make a difference? Yes, but limited. And that's one of those things that we have to accept, that under ordinary times, ordinary circumstances that aren't quite so topsy-turvy and are not better described as an era of absolute politics where that happens, incremental change is not only preferable, but it's easier. Okay, it's easier to do. In a world that we're in right now with absolute politics, those people are LARPing. If they say, well, it's incremental change, dude, it's like 20,000 steps backward, one step forward. So you can't play that game either. So that's why you need to understand how power works. How, not necessarily you, I'm saying people in general. That's why they have to know. And so there's a lot to be said there. I would recommend it though. Okay, Zach said this. I used to joke that when the Muslim take over, I would wear a burqa to move incognito. It's one of those things, man. You might be able to get away with it. I've never tried it. I can assume. You'd have to do the ones though with the mesh in the face and stuff. I don't know. You might have a pretty face. I don't know, Zach. I don't know your face, man. Although I gotta say, I've seen some fugly ladies wearing those, and so you don't necessarily have to look, too girly. I've seen some doodly looking chicks wearing those things. See, Raphael says we've been playing defense while they, speaking of the left, have been like 15 different steps ahead. Yeah, it's totally true, dude. It's totally true. We're always behind. It's kind of like Christian music. I don't like that phrase, but I know what it means. I know what people mean by that. And so the thing is, they were always behind, right? Always behind. And there's no reason for this. And I think part of it is there's no good reason. Part of it is that Christians in America for a long time have been influenced predominantly by a kind of separatism. They don't want the government touching them. They just want to be on their own. A weird individualism. Okay, they just want to be on their own. You know, don't bother me with that kind of thing. They like the night watchman government. They were intrigued by libertarianism, stuff like that. They've been influenced by the Anabaptist culture, okay, or American Baptist. So they've been influenced by the American Baptist theology and culture, and that's just the way it is. And it's unfortunate because the truth is that they're also very want to complain. And they'll complain all the time. And I'm like, you doth protest too much. Or maybe not enough. I don't know. My point is that we're in the world, but we're not of the world. Okay, this idea that there's the leaven going about within the batch, and that we are spreading about the goodness and the graces of God through our lives, through our words, through the work that we do, and everything else. And say, you know, if someone is a separatist to such a degree, and mix with that a kind of futurism, it's just another brand of escapism. I mean, it's like layers of escapism on top of layers of escapism. But the idea that you're going to be zoinked out, you know, and you start saying, man, it's any day now. It's any day now. So why would you? Why would you want to shine the brass on the sinking ship known as the world, known as Earth, or the United States, or Michigan, or anything else for that matter? Why would you do that? What's the point of that? Are you a weirdo if the Titanic is sinking and you're sitting there and you're like, shine the brass? And so it's a subtle psychology with these folks where that's what ends up happening. You know, and so we watched, and they would complain and complain, and then they would cry even more, come back faster. It's getting real bad. And I'm like, man, dude, if you thought maybe we should consider the idea of, I don't know, taking dominion by restoring all things back to Christ the King. Doesn't that make sense? All power and authority is his. We're supposed to subject all thoughts and imaginations to Christ so that everything is going to be placed under his feet until the final thing is death. I don't know why, you know, to me, it's commonsensical. Reading the Bible and saying that's the takeaway. It's not a pessimistic thing. This is something. It wasn't an accident that Christianity was at the core of Western civilization and culture. It's not an accident. Oh, and this is the end is here. Oh no. Very, 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 very grateful for all of you. All right. I'm grateful for all of you. And I'm really grateful that you tuned in for that. Okay. And that you were checking that out, because look, we put a lot into it. We make sure we pick what we think are some of the best comments. As you saw, I mean, you saw multiple pages, panels of that. So we go ahead and we address all different kinds of topics. And basically, I would say 95% of the comments that you saw on the screen are comments that were addressed. Sometimes they don't make the cut. You know, the show might be, the video might end up being like an hour if that was the case. And then we're trying to get it down to about a half an hour to 40 minutes. Something like that. I think last night's was about 45. And so if you want to see that and you want to see more questions, more comments, more answers, stuff like that, it was a lot of fun. So there's laughter, there's seriousness, things like that. And it's pretty laid back. It's pretty chill, right? And so if you would like to be part of that, make sure, number one, that you post right today. That's one thing, that you post today, that you post your comment, because you'll know that we're going to talk about it later on. And that's going to be the way that this works from now on, and even for members and stuff like that. We'll see if it's going to be a members thing or just in general, or if the members are going to have a special third hour of the show. And we're going to try to keep it at 2 hours for the public live show. That way we show our members that we care, right? Because it's one of those things. It's one of those things here. Let me see here. Let me get this out here. Yeah, that way we can see if we're using less of the computer. We're going to see if we can do that, okay? All right, now look, we're going to play this quick promo, so in just a moment, you need to get the coffee ready, because we're going to raise our glasses high to the sky, and every single day, we howl at the sun, S-O-N, by the way. We howl at the sun, right, because of the renewal, the incarnation and the renewal of the natural order, the restoration of all things under Christ the King, and we have been transformed. We have been transformed. People, just like a wolf, or just like a leopard couldn't change its spots, in the same way, it goes with a wolf. But you know what? Christ can. In fact, it's part of that prophetic millennial prophecy in the Old Testament, Isaiah, talking about the wolf will lay down with the lamb. It will dwell with the lamb. It's the restorative nature, the renewing of all the natural order under Christ through his incarnation. And so we are very, very grateful for all of you. But before we do the Wolfpack song, okay, I just want to say this real quickly. Let's see if we can go over to the news here. And just to let everybody know, again, where did I have that? Where did I have that, man? Oh, okay, I know where it is. I know what we got to do. All right. So we got this. All right. So you got to vote for us. Paleo Cheese Podcast. You got to vote for us over at thisishorror.co.uk. It's nominations are open. They close, I believe, when do they close? Until January 15 January 2021, and I believe that it closes, I thought at midnight, 12:01 a.m. So this evening at 12 o'clock, that's it. It's over, okay? So, well, man, I got lights flickering all over the place. Hold on a second. Got lights flickering all over the place. Do I still have it? No, we're done. Now, it's all sparkling on my glasses, my green screen. I'm like, you can see through me, right through me. I'm like, ah! So you got to go. You got to check it out. And also to nominate my buddy. Okay, so nominating my buddy Chad for some of these. You can nominate him and his books and everything. And so you can go and do that. They've got all different categories down here for fiction. They've got categories. Where are the categories? Real quickly, let's see. Oh, it's got to be up higher then. It's got to be up higher. All right. Ding, ding, ding. Here we go. Novella of the year, novel of the year, short story collection of the year, anthology of the year, fiction magazine of the year, publisher of the year, fiction podcast of the year, and nonfiction podcast. I think that's where we would be found. So if you want, and you have to email awards@thisishorror.co.uk. That's the last announcement before we move on here. Making our way over. You got to check this out. Look at this. Oh, I can't get it up any higher, can I? Hold on. Let's see if we can do this. Oh no, I can't. Hold on. Let me get the chat screen. So if you look down there, oh, I'm live. Dude, that's me live. You can watch me live over at hfmamericanmedia.com. I thought it was holyfaithmedia.com. I got to look up hfmamericanmedia.com to get this. You can listen to the show. For one, you can watch it right there. Okay, it's got the comments lined up and everything. You can see all the different people who are commenting over on the side. And there I am. I don't know. Let's see. We got to see me, man. Hold on a second. Oh, we got it. We got to see it. Check it out. There I am. There I am. And look, you can see a little bit of a delay, okay? So you know that it's a couple seconds delayed or whatever. Oh, man. What a great show. And so the thing is that you can go there and watch it. And also, it's got all the different shows from Holy Faith Media, and it even has it available in podcast. So if you go to podcast and you say, okay, I'm going to click on this podcast thing up here. Okay, I got that. Do. Check it out. Look at your boy. Look at your boy right there. Okay, so you got a whole bunch of people. You got a whole bunch of great podcasts down here. You got Frontline, Joe and Joe. Dr. Robertson Jennings. You got the whole gang, man. Father Stephen. It's great. And so you got a whole bunch of podcasts. So if you prefer to listen to the show, make sure to go over there. You can download the podcast there. Of course, it's available also on a bunch of different platforms. I think it's on basically all of them, like Google Play and Apple Podcasts and Spotify and all of those. So it's on a whole bunch of different platforms. You can find it. Make sure to subscribe to it and make sure to share it. We really appreciate all of that. All right. So we're going to go back to this. We're going back to this. As soon as this brief announcement is over, we're coming back, and we're going right into the Wolfpack song, so go get that coffee ready right now. Coffee, tea, wine, wherever you are in the world. Whatever you're doing. I don't care if it's food, if it's pumpkin pie. I don't even care. Rhubarb pie. I don't care. Raise it to the sky because we're howling at the sun, resolving deep inside to never give up, keep on smiling, and memento mori. We'll be right back. Love this video? What a coincidence. I do too. Now head on over to Paleocratdiaries.com. for more videos, blogs, book and movie reviews, even Team Tiny Dancer stuff. And don't forget to check out our new members and services pages. It's how I pay for my kids to attend Catholic school. Until next time, Memento Mori. All right. Okie dokie. You got to get it ready. I hope it's ready. I hope you've prepared for this, because today is the day that the Lord has made. We're rejoicing and we're glad in it, no matter how hard it gets. And in fact, especially because it's hard, it's all the more reason to rejoice, because it's yet another opportunity for us to bear the burden, for us to be hated, just like Christ was hated, for us to be persecuted, to be maligned, mocked, just like Christ was persecuted, maligned, and mocked. It's an amazing thing, and we are fortunate, in fact. And that's something that confuses the world. It confuses the world, and they're like, not only are we enduring all those things, but we're the people that everyone calls a chump. We're the flyover folks. We're the people over on Main Street in Middle America, the Johnny Q's and the Sally Sue's, doing ordinary functions in this world. And people say, look, you live, you die, no one will remember you. And I say, one will, and that is Christ the King. God will remember. And the reason why is because we are resolving every day to be faithful, to work out that salvation with fear and trembling, with everything that we do, every ounce of our energy, every single thing. We are resolved. We are resolved to do it. And so it's what we're about. It is what we are about. So here we go. Here we go with the Wolfpack song. All right. I'm not going to bleat today.
Part of the Wolfpack.
You're part of the Wolfpack. I want you to rock it out. I want you to have an amazing day. Make somebody else's world and their life amazing. Let's howl. I love all you guys. What an amazing day. What an amazing way to start the day. Look at him dance. Come on, son. Make it happen. Let's go. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Woo. Yeah. I hope they pump you up. You pump me up. Yeah, that guy. That guy right there. Super excited for that little dude. Super excited for him. All right, now back to the news. Back to the news. First and foremost, we got to do. And I'm sorry for the glitches here. We got a whole bunch of stuff in the show, and so it's kind of dragging a little bit. I apologize for that. That we have a little bit of a drag. Not sure exactly why. It's bumming me out. It's breaking my heart, but you got to do what you got to do. So, all right, here we go. You know what? Actually, I think that did I take screenshots of that? I may have, but I don't know if I dropped it in. So, okay, so we'll just scroll up over at LifeSite News. Over at LifeSite News, my buddy Steve Cox wrote an article. GOP Congressman Peter Meyer just backstabbed every Michigan patriot who voted for him. Absolutely, 100%. Dude is a scumbag, okay? Dude is a scumbag. And look, he just made a bunch of enemies. Not least of which is your boy. Not least of which is your old boy. Because the thing is, you go out, I had a sign for him in my yard. I want to burn that. I'm not even joking. I want to burn it. I want to tag him in it. He needs to know who we are. He's going to know who I am. Ain't no doubt about that. See, I'm part of the party. I'm a delegate, man. I'm a delegate. And so I'm sitting there thinking, dude, you made some enemies, son. There's a lot of people. He doesn't even know what's coming for him. He's a one and out dude, one and done. This guy's so stupid. He didn't even figure out why he's even there in the freaking first place was because of Justin Amash. Justin Amash betrayed President Trump on the whole Russiagate thing. And so what do? He comes up and he goes, he's going to join him and Fred Upton in Michigan. These people, 10 Republicans, they joined in. And they voted for the impeachment. And he acted all sanctimonious about it. Oh, I had to do it. Oh, yeah, it's at his feet. It's got to be. This is what it is. You know what, dude? You're going to learn not too long from now. You're going to learn just how wrong you are. And part of that, we're going to talk about it. Part of it is because something really simple. The police in D.C. are not going to release FOIA information about what was going on in the lead up and how it was handled and who may have been involved within the department, and their rationale as to why was because it would be personally embarrassing. Uh-oh, Spaghetti-O. Dude, you're in trouble, son. You've just made an enemy, man. You have just made an enemy. You don't know me. You might think that your money is going to protect you. You may think this, but you are wrong. You are wrong, because the everyday folks, number one, we roll in a different kind of currency, man. Your money is chump change at this point. What does it matter, dude? What does it matter? Oh, you're going to get a bunch of commercials where? On Fox News? They don't even have they have 2 shows in the top 20 now. 0 in the top 10. Where you going to go, son? Where you going to go? And you want to know something? The idea that you can manipulate anymore and simply say, well, you know what? You got to vote for me because otherwise you're going to get a Democrat. You just kicked that entire thing out the window because you are one. You lose, son. You lose, you dumb idiot. Man, you're stupid, son. What's wrong with you, bro? What's wrong with you? And you can't hide behind that, behind any kind of uniform, man. No more than I can. We're both veterans, aren't we? We're both veterans, so, kind of cancels it out, dude. You can say, well, I did a lot more. Go ahead. Do whatever you want. The point is, man, you can't hide behind that anymore because you just backstabbed a ton of veterans. You're done. You are done. And we're going to make sure of that. We're going to have a lot of fun with you. We're going to have a lot of fun with you. We're going to spin you like a dreidel. We're going to spin you like a top until the elections come around. And the hope is, here's the hope, guys. Can't we just cross our fingers and hope that it works out this way? That he will realize that he's pulled in a mosh. He's pulled in a mosh. He basically said, well, here's my ideas, and we're going to play Russian roulette, and I'm just going to load up every single one of those chambers. Bam! Every single one. It's political suicide. What were you smoking before you went in? I don't want none of that. It's real bad, dude. It's real bad. You must be tripping because you made a very, very, very big mistake, dude. Super, super big mistake. And we shall not forget. And that's the thing. I mean, you could say, well, you're a Christian. Don't you believe in forgiveness? And I'm like, yes. But unlike God, God is able, he does the whole, he's going to cast as far as the east is from the west. I could do that within the chambers of my heart. say, I'm holding you accountable, dude. I'm so sorry. I'm going to hold you accountable, and we're going to be nothing but a furious fire under your feet until the next election. And you're just... You're in hot water, dude. You're in hot water. So, all right. But my buddy, he posted about it. And I just wanted to say this, man. I just wanted to say this because he put something on here that was really great. And I'm glad that he came out about it because he reached out to me, what was it, last year, 2 years ago? Reached out to me and said he wanted to meet with me in private. We went in private and we went downtown, got some food. We went outside. We were eating at one of the tables. And he told me he was considering running for office, and he didn't know if that's something that he should do, and he wasn't sure. Well, he told everybody today. So everybody today, he said, based on comments I'm seeing on Facebook, Myra is going to be a one-and-done congressman. I myself am praying as to whether I should step forward and primary him. Will you pray for me too? Michiganians need a strong voice in Washington that understands the key issues threatening our country: big tech tyranny, the fake news media, China, the LGBT agenda, COVID lockdowns, immigration, and the leftist assault on life and family. And so, that's the message. It's a good one. It's a good one. And, whether or not he ends up, in the discerning process, praying, fasting, thinking about it, talking to people that he treats as confidants and stuff like that, that if he decides it's not for him, I really, really hope that he works very closely with someone who does. And I'm willing to be a Machiavelli. I'm serious, man. I said yesterday, I said on the show last night, on the comments, man, where I was talking about power and people who are in the shadows and stuff. And I said, it's part of the game, dude. It's part of the game. And I said, in fact, that's something that I'm perfectly fine with. I come out here, it's kind of hard to be in the shadows a little bit. But to be a muckraker, to be a gadfly, to cause some trouble. I'm a troublemaker. Imagine that. Imagine that. I make people uncomfortable. And I encourage others to do the same, and they don't like that at all. They're like, look, why are there people outside of my house banging on drums in the middle of the night? What's that all about? Why is Antifa mad at me? And I'm like, dude, you got the wrong people, son. We ain't Antifa, but we got a megaphone. We got a megaphone. And we've got a deep-rooted Christian resolve, man, a patriotic resolve to rid Congress of swamp monsters like you. And that trick, man, ain't going to work anymore. You know, the party does this. And look, the party might get mad at me for saying this, but here's the truth. This is just a fact. I don't know. You guys, tell me what you think. Tell me if you think it's wrong. That you know, when primaries are over, and I was invited to this last time because I was on the ticket. So you go, and you know you're sitting there, and it's like everybody's done the primary. Okay, so you have a winner, and you have people who lost, and the idea, and I understand why they got to do it. They got to do it. It's a party. It's the party system. So they've got to do it where they bring everybody together and say, hey, we want you to. We're now coming together. We've had our internal fight and everything else, and now we're coming together because we got to go get those Democrats. And I'm like, middle finger. Middle finger, guys. And I smile and nod, and I'm like, you guys better start doing better on social media, dude, because I'm going to bust you up into pieces. We're going to do it, man. Every day, just blam, blam, blam. Every day. Every day. So watch it. And we're not even going to wait till the elections. We're going to be on this guy, dude, like flies on crap. He made a mistake. He did, didn't he? Oh, man. All right.
I don't even know why.
So, okay. This brings us back. You got to know who he sided with. And this is the crazy. I showed it before. I'm going to show it again today. I'm going to show a couple videos again today that we've already seen. And the reason I'm showing them to you is because we have to just blare it in their faces. We do. We have to get it deep inside that we know exactly what these people are talking about. We got to do it. So here we go.
I don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
You know, there
He
needs to
voted
be
with these
unrest in
people.
the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do something
These
about
are
your
his
dad's
comrades.
immigration practices, you feckless.
When they go low, we kick.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
The biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized right up to the right.
I thought he should have punched him in the face. I said, even if you lost, he insulted your wife.
Yes. This is who Peter Meyer sides with, guys.
He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think
This
you
is
should
his
have punched him in the
tribe.
face and then gotten out of the race. You
He's
would've
a
been hero.
fraud.
I'd like to punch him in the face.
He's a peddler of
If I said
lies.
we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat
Fred
the hell out
Upton,
of him.
man.
Punch some people in the face.
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
I wonder if he's going to go after the Dems.
And that's a fact.
Is he going to go after all of the Never Trumpers? Is he going to go after celebrities?
Is stabbed to death. Where is John?
Screenwriters? Actors? Used up, gross actors? Very used up, gross musicians? Is he going to go after him?
Senator is under investigation by the Secret Service after saying she hopes President Trump is assassinated.
Oh, wow, that's neat.
Take Trump out tonight.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd.
He made no mention, by the way, of Antifa or BLM. Zero.
Anymore, anywhere.
And sadly, the domestic enemies to our voting system and our honoring
Think
our
of that word right there.
Constitution
And you know what?
are right
The
at
journalist said, wow.
1600 Pennsylvania
Domestic
Avenue.
enemies. That is a wow, by the way. They're talking about you.
And they're not going to stop after Election Day. And that should be, everyone should take note of that on both levels. That this isn't, they're not going to let up, and they should not.
If you think we're rallying now, you ain't seen nothing yet.
One marked state trooper vehicle.
So that's the thing. Okay, so he's sitting there. Those are the people he's siding with. Does he say a single thing? Of course not. He doesn't want to bring that up. He doesn't want to talk about that. He doesn't have the cojones. And look, I'm using him as a foil. I'm using this guy. He's a court jester. He's the goon. He's the village idiot. We're just bringing him out and we're all giggling and laughing. We're throwing tomatoes. but he's iconic of something bigger. He is a symbol of something bigger. And in a way, it's better because we can all go after Pelosi, right? We all can. It's easy peasy lemon squeezy. That's not even hard. That's not even hard. But to sit there and say, he's a Republican. He's part of the party. He's part of the party. He's a goon. He's a scumbag. And you know, to not even bring up any of these things. And think about it. Louis Gohmert did. He quoted Pelosi and the left got furious. I can't believe. Listen to what he said. Did you hear what he said? And you're like, yes, I heard it, you know, when Pelosi said it the first time. And what did she say? They said stuff like this. There will be blood in the streets. Loretta Lynch. Well, that's neat. Do you think that incited the violence? Who says protests have to be peaceful? Chris Cuomo. Yeah, who said that, by the way? Who said that? None of the mainstream media said it. None. They weren't sitting there talking about it. They were okay with the violence because they knew it was a political tool. Because the fact is, guess what? It is. It is. It is a political tool. What do you think it was, man? What do you think it was? Happy fun times in the revolution? Do you think that was happy fun times? Do you think that was like, well, we're just, you know, we're being nice, we're really peaceful? You know who was saying that? The British, the king, and his men. They were the ones. The loyalists, they were the ones. But those who saw that there was a serious problem and it resolved in their heart that they weren't going to take it anymore, they were the ones doing things that were like, wow. And people were divided. They were divided. But nobody was denying that was a political weapon. And that when you get to that place, there is some truth in the fact that when there's outbursts like that, right? And it's an outburst of something that's hidden underneath, something that's been suppressed. That when that finally bursts forth and shows where it's normally something that is expressing itself because it's normally either not seen or not heard. We heard that from the left talking about why people like BLM and Antifa, why they're right. Not Antifa. It's part of their philosophy to be violent. In fact, it's maybe the hallmark of their philosophy. Is their willingness to accept that, which is real, by the way, that states being embodiments of power, the centralization of that power in a political economy, that there is inevitably a dynamic of violence and a dynamic of us versus them, which is why Pelosi was able to toss around those words like calling people like us domestic enemies. That's, by the way, these are legal categories. You should look up and see how are domestic enemies, how are they treated? How are they treated? Ayanna Pressley, there needs to be unrest in the streets. Kamala Harris, protesters should not let up, not even after the election. Maybe, look, we are behind on a lot of stuff, aren't we, guys? We're behind, but we eventually catch up. I mean, look, why can't we take that as an admonition for us? You tell me. Why can't we take that as an admonition for us? Why are they allowed to do that? How could we not use that in a court of law? How are we not allowed to use that inside of the Senate chambers or inside of the House? How are we not allowed? Because the people who run that, the establishment in the swamp, they're the ones that make sure that that's allowed to be said to those that are on their side. Remember the pyramid from yesterday. Remember the triangle and all the levels of power and institutional layout of that. And remember that it is a uniparty. Remember that it is a deep state. It is an establishment. And at this point, these folks here, they see BLM and Antifa as a tool. And so they're giving it orders, kind of like the lady in Michigan who was talking about all the soldiers. How is that not telling people to be violent, especially when after they do that, in connection with that very thing, they end up being violent? And have we forgotten, by the way, of how the Capitol was under siege with the Kavanaugh hearing? Have we forgotten? We have. These people, man, it's a long line of violence. It is. And you got all the quotes right there. You can take a screenshot of it real quick if you want. And if you don't, make sure you can take a screenshot a little bit later. It's all right. Let's get this one out of there. Again, same thing. They shouldn't let up. If you see anybody from that cabinet, and remember what it was like. What do you call that, man, when you're at home and people are trying to kick in the door? What do you call it when what is it? The sunrise movement? Isn't that what it's called? When they're going out and they're practicing and being trained in how to kick in a door? What do you call it when you get Zoom calls of agitators, people who are involved with Occupy, involved with every single violent anarchistic group in this country on the left? Every single one of them. They're all tools, by the way. They're all tools. So to have them on a Zoom call talking about bullets and talking about surrounding the Capitol, talking about taking over different buildings, how are they not arrested? Why was there never an investigation into those people? And the answer is obvious, because those people are on the side of those who are enforcing the law. The lawmakers, the establishment, that wicked pyramid. And so they're able to say that to them. And their foot soldiers are allowed to burn buildings down. They're allowed to go into courthouses. They're allowed to go into police precincts. They're allowed to go into the Capitol. They're allowed to lay siege on a hearing for the Supreme Court. They're allowed to do all of that. They're allowed to be on a Zoom call talking about doing violence with bullets flying through the air, and that now is the time that they need to talk about it. And they're allowed to do that call, and it get leaked. And in the end, guess what happened to them? Nothing. Nada. Zero. Zilch. Nothing. So what are we to do with that, though? Do we just sit there and complain, wow, why are they allowed? Or do we sit there and say, we refuse to accept what you say? We refuse to accept the way that you have that double standard. We refuse to accept that. And we will use you. We will call on you as witnesses. It will put them on the defense. Call them in as witnesses. If you get in trouble, in fact, any of the people who got in trouble and are getting raided right now, use them as your witnesses. Call them to the stand and say, look, I thought they were talking to me. I just don't know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be. You know what? Wow, you're lighting a fire, and we didn't start the fire. Ain't that a thing?
And then
And we got to remember this. It's used in this way against us. It's used in this way, and I'm not proposing any specific action. What I'm doing is trying to give you the framework of the environment wherein we even have to think about action. You have to know the framework. You have to know the facts. You have to know the enmity. You must know the risk. You can't just be a reactionary that says, well, I don't like what I see. I'm gonna run out and do something. You got to think it through. Take a breath. Think it through. But here's what they do. Here's what they've done. Here's what they do. And here's what they will do to you. Here's what they will do to me.
And then we call it the wrap-up smear. If you want to talk politics, you call it the wrap-up smear. You smear somebody with falsehoods and all the rest, and then you merchandise it. And then you write it, and they'll say, see, it's reported in the press that this, and this. So they have that validation that the press reported the smear, and then it's called the wrap-up smear. Now I'm going to merchandise the press's report on the smear that we made. And it's a tactic, and it's self-evident.
It's a tactic. Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's a tactic, guys. It's a tactic, guys. She's admitting it's a tactic. It is one of the weapons in the arsenal. It's a tactic, guys. It's effective. We peddle that stuff. It's fake news, by the way. That right there is fake freaking news. And these are the same people who right now Peter Meyer joined forces with. That's who he's joining forces with. These are the people who are coming after you. These are the people who are calling you a white supremacist. These are the people who are calling you a racist. These are the people who are calling you a bigot. These are the people who are saying that you are so bad. You are so bad that we might need to, not let you have any jobs. We might need to send you to some kind of a re-education camp. Those are the people. The art of the smear. Learn it, by the way. Learn it. Dude, these people don't get it. And you have to know that, look, how many times has Trump rightfully called out over and over and over, look at the fake smear, look at the fake smear, look at the fake smear. And they simply keep on marching forward. You have to know the tactic. And you have to know that whatever you do, whatever weapon is at your disposal in the arsenal, I'm using that symbolically. Kind of like saying the journalistic toolkit. I don't have an actual toolbox that I open up and I've got my pens and paper in there. Oh, that might be kind of dope. But that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is all of the different tactics at our disposal. Each and every one of these, you need to know, number one, are they used? Number two, how are they used? Number three, should you use them at all? And if you do, how? How? When? You got to be good. You have to be a master at this. And beyond that when they come after you afterward and they go, oh my gosh, that's a lie. Or, oh man, that's like an exaggerated thing. You got to keep marching forward. You got to keep marching forward. Let them say what they say, because the truth is, those people, that's exactly what they do. And how do you protect yourself from that? How do you fight back against that? You just sit back and take it? Because right now, you can turn on almost any show. Because most people don't want to lose their show. With me, I say, I need to speak the truth. I need to tell it as it is. And they come after me, knock on my door. That's the way it rolls. I've had serious conversations with my kids, by the way. If you don't think that this is serious, you're out to lunch. I ain't grabbing my ankles, man. Heck no. You got to tell it like it is. Because this is what we've been seeing. Just think about the optics of this, by the way. Think about the optics of this in June, in July, in August. And then he goes, this violence is a threat and it must end now. Yeah, you didn't see the country burning down? The hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of riots? All the looting? All of the buildings with the windows broken in? You didn't see that? Oh, it's because you're sleeping. It's because you were sleeping, you old sack of dirt. What a sack of crap. This is all, and again, you have to remember the smear, that art of the smear. Remember what it was. They're peddling something so that the media will then report on it. Then they will take what the media said and say it was reported in the media. And like I said, that was actually, it's a great example. Russiagate, remember? Everyone was waiting because eventually CNN reported on PP-Gate. Remember that? The dossier. And when they did that, all of a sudden it was on like Donkey Kong, because then they could say, well, as it was reported in the media. In fact, the DOJ did that. FBI. Didn't they cite these exact people that they fed that lie to? And some of them are trusted people. They know the game. They know how it works. They give them the lie. They give them the smear. They publish the smear. Then the very people that gave them the smear that they published, they then use the publication of that smear as a precedent in order to obtain warrants. That is what they are doing. Which means that it's not an end in and of itself. They're using it as a platform for something else. You have to at this point, because, like the conservative treehouse, I think they were talking yesterday, it's gotten to the point with the lies that have gone on. It's gotten to the point where it's so bad. And you have this big time scam that's gone on now for so long. Just look at it. It's obviously a freaking scam. You look at this, right? With old Biden. With old Biden and Kamala. coming out of a plane and waving at the two people over there that they paid to come over. Those people, women, yeah, look at you, you're great. Those people, they knew that in order to win, it needed to be grandiose. But they had all the tools at their disposal. Because they got that whole octopus thing going on, that Cthulhu, called the deep state. All the tentacles.
The House of Representatives.
So here's this. Because they're trying to advance certain things, and I'm only showing this because it's actually kind of funny. There's a new rule, right, where we talked about it, I think, yesterday or the day before, where the new rule says that in Congress you're not supposed to use terms like, man and woman, and stuff like that, mother and father, mom, dad, sister and brother. Instead, you're supposed to use siblings or, relations or whatever. You got to change it up, right? They're playing Mr. Potato Head because they're trying to be so inclusive that they're, making it so broad that it applies to everything and everyone, so it applies to nothing kind of thing. And that's what they're doing. But she goes out and you can see that even that is not a principled conviction that she has. And she's the one who proposed it, by the way. She doesn't even really believe it. And you want to know why? You want to know how you can tell that she doesn't believe it? Because moments after talking about it, she does this.
The House of Representatives. I stand before you as a wife, a mother, a grandmother, a daughter whose father proudly served in this Congress.
What? Bing, 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 whack-a-mole with the hypocrisy, blam, 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 blam. She doesn't even believe. She doesn't even believe it. It's a tool. It's a tool. And so many of these ideas, man, they're gonna hit the road of reality, and it's gonna sputter out of control because as much as their utopia is inside of that brain of theirs, that solipsistic brain, where it's like reality is no longer a thing anymore, the natural order is no longer a thing anymore. Now it's just whatever's going on in the mind, that they won't be able to make that something that you can live out. You can say that, but you cannot live that way. Now with a lot of work. And there's a great example of that where a guy, he made it was a joke. He's a linguist, I think. And he made a video talking about how apparently, England is going to, or London is going to be changing up the speech codes, right? So you're not allowed to say certain consonants anymore, like p, t, m, because the particles, the particles and the corona, it's going to go further away whenever you go p, Peter Piper. And it's like, dude, you are a super spreader. Peter Piper was a super spreader. And that's what they're going to say. So he made a joke about it, saying that phase 1, they're going to weed out certain consonants, and then they're going to weed out other ones in phase 2, and it'll give you time to kind of, become accustomed to it. And it just got crazier and crazier and crazier as it went along. And what was sad is that people watched it, and it went viral. And people were actually believing that that was true, that, oh my gosh, this guy's telling us. And it just sounded so ridiculous. He felt badly. He said, look, it even says in the description it's a joke. But that's where we are, is that it's so stupid and so unreal that it's actually almost like believable. It's kind of like, what's his name? What's his name over at Tesla? Elon Musk. Elon Musk sitting there and talking about the car up in outer space and saying that it has to be real because it looks so fake. That's like the mindset of these people when it comes to, this is the way it's going to work. It's extremely impossible to do, but that's why it's real, and we got to do it. And you're like, dude, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you people? It's a sin problem. But we're in a world now where whether or not we are comfortable with this language, I mean, a language like this, it can get people in trouble. It can get people in trouble to sit there and say, man, okay, so you're looking at people like McConnell and Biden, Zuckerberg and Pelosi, the whole gang down there, the grotesque, nasty gang of people down there, and saying, look, those people are traitors. You admit that. They, by their language and by the fact that they have power, that they have institutional power, that they have enforcement power. That is the line of separation that they have made. Those are the categories that they are using. Even on stuff that's just, outrageous, drumming up the things that are typically, anyway, in ordinary circumstances where it's not absolute politics. In an a more ordinary circumstance, right? A more fully functioning part of a cycle of a culture. That they would use words and descriptors. They would say, man, that person's really wrong, or, oh, they're stupid. But it's gotten to that place where remember in 2016, that's when they started calling people Nazis and Hitler. And you had the meme come out where it says, everybody I disagree with is Hitler. And it has Hitler in his pajamas on kind of a magic carpet with a rainbow flying behind him. Supposedly a book. And I remember at that time being exceptionally worried about it just from a linguistic perspective and thinking, like, when you get to that place where you're calling everybody you disagree with Hitler, if you get to that place, what's next? What more can you say? How much deeper can you go? And you started to see the drive. You knew that they were it was not satisfying. It did not satisfy their feelings to even use Hitler as the example. And the reason why was because in many ways Hitler is just synonymous when they use that term with fascist. And fascist was no longer sufficient. That's why you started hearing people say things like, you're a bigoted, homophobic, transphobic, cisgendered, fascist, pig. And they would layer it on. But even that will get to be to the point where it doesn't give the satisfaction that they used to have, like the first time that they ever layered like 6 different descriptors on top of each other. And they're like, man, I felt good, dude. I called that guy a homophobic, transphobic, fascist bastard. And going all the different naughty words you could possibly use at them. And it felt good to them. But after a while, it just became redundant. And it was no longer satisfying because people were able to keep on existing that way. They were able to have jobs. They were able to go to the school. They were able to do speeches. They were able to make movies. They were able to do whatever they were able to do. And you can't have that. And I said, what's beyond that? I called it like Babe Ruth, man. Look, to sit there and say at some point it's going to get to the place where you're going to begin seeing violence. You're going to begin seeing riots, looting. And why would you say that? Because if you're able to divide yourself from your family because you say, look, I found out my dad voted for Donald Trump. I can't be friends with him anymore. I never knew my dad was a Nazi. If you get to that place, do you think that you're going to have a major outcry for when those people that they're calling Nazi or fascists are in power, that you're going to have an outcry if all of a sudden a bunch of people that they sympathize with go around and loot a bunch of stores or cause a problem with the police? Do you think there's going to be an outcry? I knew there would not be, which was why I shouldn't have been I was afraid. I wasn't surprised, but it was a little bit frightening to be in a group of secular people years ago. And I'm leading a group, I'm moderating, and they're talking about this gay guy. He's Hispanic. He was a Trump supporter, a gay guy, wearing a MAGA hat. I don't know if it was out in California or Arizona where it was. But they go up to him, and they're harassing him and everything, and they punch him right in the face. And he turns around, and somebody takes a brick and slams it in his face. Completely jacks up his face. Needed plastic surgery. Blood everywhere. And people sit there, and I remember being in that room and hearing people talk and say, in a hushed tone, I wouldn't personally do that, but maybe he should have thought twice about supporting Donald Trump. And everybody's going, And I'm going, holy crap. Get me out of here. Get me away from these people. They did not even know. They didn't know. So when you get to that place and you go, that was 2016, man. That was 2016, and it only got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, to the point that not only were they saying, I wouldn't do it personally, but now they're donning the black masks and they're going out and taking a knee, and they're actively excusing violence, actively encouraging it for their own side, because they've redefined what violence means. They've redefined it to such a degree that they even call silence violence. Silence is violence. If you don't say anything, to grumpy Uncle Joe, it's no longer between him and God. It's no longer between that. It's no longer that you should live by example. No, you need to chastise him. Maybe even get up and walk out of that Thanksgiving dinner. Punish everybody else. Make a statement. Make a stand. And at that point, and then to start redefining violence, to say it's not violent to light a place on fire, that it's just simply an expression. And you go, dude, why wouldn't violence then be an expression? Again, man, they want their cake, but they don't want to have to eat it. And they're mad when in a moment where people are like, they've seen what they've seen. They watch shows like mine that for a month, every day was blam, 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 showing all of these articles, all of these videos, all of these testimonies. And they see that, and they realize they're going to get away with it. They're going to get away with it. And they're watching as their leader at least appears to have given up hope. And that he's just resigning himself to the idea of resigning. And what do? Not all of them, but hundreds snap. And they say, we're taking it back. And then the smear magicians over there, who've redefined violence, who have fueled this entire thing, who have burned down cities, cops have died, people have died, people have been bloodied up, men, women, and children have been abused, families have been broken apart, they've been using phrases like domestic enemy, domestic terror. And then when that group finally snaps back and says, you know what, man, we've had it. We're sick and tired of getting beat up by you. We're sick and tired of getting curb stomped by you. Maligned every day, lied about every day, stolen from every day. We are sick of it. That all of a sudden, aghast. I can't believe it. I just can't believe it. Who do these people think they are? We need to round them up. We need to arrest them. We need to put them on a no-fly list. And why? Because it fits perfectly into their model. It's a continuity. It's a development. Not an attack on democracy. Trump supporters beaten and killed. President of the U.S. deplatformed. Massive voter fraud in 6 states. 6 months of race riots. Antifa autonomous zone. Endless COVID lockdown. None of that stuff. Oh, yeah, and right there, down at the bottom. This claim of election fraud is disputed, and this tweet can't be replied to, retweeted, or liked due to a risk of violence. You know what, dude? He's pointing out the violence. He's pointing out the violence, man. Mr. Magoo, what's wrong with you? It's going to get to the place where you simply cannot talk anymore, and it's time for the fisticuffs. We need to either figure out how do we stop it, because if we don't, it's inevitable. And why? Because one person, one side, has already been doing it, and the others can only take it for so long. Thank God for the discipline of the right to sit there and say, you know what, because we've been maligned for how long? Saying, oh, these gun owners, they're all violent. Dude, we have had an extraordinary amount of self-restraint. Extraordinary. And people may be uncomfortable with this conversation, but let me ask you, if you're uncomfortable, tell me what it would take before you do. Would it take you being curb stomped? Would it take you getting shot? Would it take you being part of a group or being a person at a rally or a protest that gets run over by some crazed maniacal leftist? And then having a leftist district attorney decide that they're not going to press charges when you find out while you're in a hospital bed? Is that what it would take? And if you don't have a better answer, if you don't have something, dude, you got to hit the road, home slice. I don't have time for you anymore. We don't have time for that crap anymore. We are beyond that point. 80 million people. 80 million people. The division in this country is astounding. It is, and I've been calling it for a long time. You had the naysayers. Oh no, it's not as bad. It's not as bad. The partisan divide is not as bad. I was saying it was as bad when I was back. How long ago was it? It was even before Jon Stewart with the Daily Show, back when it was still funny and stuff. And so Jon Stewart, occasionally funny. So Jon Stewart is there, and he's talking about a study that was done regarding what would it be? Silos, information silos. And a lot of people would use the phrase bubbles, right? So you're kind of within this enclosed ecosystem of news and cultural views, religious values, and all that stuff. And so that's what it would be. You know, and you sit there and he said, if you line it up in a partisan way, and you got the right, you got the left, and you got the center and stuff, I mean, they are listening exclusively to, without hardly any deviation, to stuff that informs their views and confirms their views. That's it. They're no longer even mentally in that space where they can understand the other side at all, because they never read anything that they write. They never listen to anything that they've got to say. They listen and read what their side says of the other side, and that's it. It was one of the benefits, in fact, of having a mainstream media, that everyone was kind of reading the same thing. And as long as you had different voices that were represented in that, like, you know, people can make fun of the fairness doctrine all day long, but you know what? You sit there and you say, dude, the fairness doctrine, you would have people from all different perspectives that would have the right to be on those channels. And they say, yeah, but but it's private property. And you go, okay, so at that point, you're saying that this has no effect on the political economy? Well, it's just people's choice. And it's like, well, then you are inevitably going to fuel information silos, because that is human nature. It's human nature, man. When you go online, think of yourself. I've done it for myself. I'm not saying that people, that they're doing stuff that I don't do or anything like that. But to sit there and say, okay, so when you go online, if you're looking something up and you're trying to find something, how often do you go to a source that is completely opposite of you with a narrative that is different from the one that you were looking for? Be honest. I hardly ever do, and I know all about this stuff. I mean it. Like, I used to a lot more. I went back in the days of magazines, back in the days where mainstream media was more of a thing. But it got to the point now. We were limited on channels. It got to the point where you could just pick what you wanted, and you're going to go to where you are feeling most affirmed. I knew I was right all along. What would you rather do? We can say all day long, well, I'd rather be challenged and know the truth. No, you wouldn't. No one does. That's a discipline, by the way, because the truth is uncomfortable. No, there's nothing inside your body. God did not design you in such a way that said that discomfort, that's where you got to go. You're like, oh man, I really get uncomfortable when I'm in that environment. I love it. It's really great for me. Nobody's thinking this way. And when they do, it's typically a kink or something whacked out. So we already know that it's a tendency. But apparently, attack on democracy, boomers walking around the Capitol for a few hours. I'd go further than that and say, yes, it is. Again, I've said this before. I don't want to minimize this. We need to bring up all of the other things. That is absolutely important. But my model that I use on this show is that it's an arms race between two political units. And that arms race is constantly up-one-manship, the up-one-manship, right? One-upping the other. And so one person goes high, another person, you go low, the other person goes lower, kind of thing. And it's gotten to the point right now, and maybe because it didn't flush itself out in small little ways. You didn't see a whole bunch of Trump people going and beating the snot out of Biden people. Maybe because there weren't many there. I mean, it was like 5. And nobody wants to beat up grannies and stuff, And so, like, that's the main audience that he's down with. That's the main audience that he's down with. So maybe that's why. Maybe that's why. But the point is, it waited so long that by the time it finally did, and it waited until it was literally too late. 11:59, we got 1 minute left. What are we going to do? So I'll go to D.C. All that curb stomping came back, didn't it? All those rallies that you went to where leftists came in and started beating the snot out of people came back, didn't it? Seeing women get beat up, seeing kids get pushed around came back, didn't it? But it's not just them. We've got this. This is what we're up against. Listen to this.
We want to find a way of ramping this up even beyond the end of the lockdown. And I don't know when the lockdown will end. Some people are saying the 16th of April. But when we announced it, I didn't say what year it will end.
Some people are wondering if it will be the 16th of April, but you may have noticed that I did not say what year. That's freaking hilarious, dude. You're a comedian, you piece of crap. Oh, a belly full of laughs, dude. Oh, it could go on for years and years and years. And all these rich people, these establishment pukes, are sitting there giggling it up. Why? Because they've got ice cream in those fancy refrigerators back home. Do you? Do you have it? Let's see.
I've worked for like 17 years. I work all the time. I've been paying medical bills on my son for 9 years since he was born. And he was just diagnosed with type 1 diabetes and has to have insulin every 2 hours. I just got his prescription. It was $1,000. I couldn't pay for it. I now have to go in and tell my 9-year-old son I couldn't pay for it. I work a full-time job. My husband works a full-time job. I work 3rd shift. I go to school during the day. How are you guys making it? Am I the only one struggling? How are you guys doing it?
Or are you more like her? Who are you like? Who are you like? I know so many people like her. I was talking to somebody not long ago, even about the children's hospital here. I was talking to him about the children's hospital. And I was asking, like, how are they possibly surviving? And the truth is, it's a mirage. It's a mirage. They aren't. Eventually, we will reach a place where we're going to have to pay the piper. Eventually. I think it's soon. I think that it's overdue, and I think that that's why he's turned into a repo man big time. He's really ticked off. And how does it make it any easier when you've got people like this? She took a certain something for, the something. And then this started happening to her. She can't walk. Convulsions. You know what kind of bills she's going to have? Do you understand? Do you understand it? I have so many of these. It even looks like Nancy Pelosi was struggling a little something with this. Look at the eyes. Zoom in on that. What do you think's going on behind that mask? Not even honest enough to tell the American people during one of the most dishonest events. And that's a big deal, by the way. How could it get more dishonest than that? But look at the directionality of her face. What do you think's going on under that mask? I got a little suspicion. Probably something it's probably similar to what's been going on with that woman who's got herself the shakes. There's a video. I got to see this video here. Where's that video, man? I thought that I had it in here. MP4, is this it? No. I got to find it real quick because you got to see it. In fact, you got to see it here. Yeah, not that one. Not that one here. Let's see here. Did I put it in as shake? I may have accidentally erased it. Let's hope not. Let's hope not. I'm going to go ahead and drag it in here. Might be a little bit sloppy. Okay. Might be a little bit sloppy, but I'm going to drag it in because you got to see it. Here we go.
First, I want to introduce myself, and my name is Sean
Let me go ahead
Skelton.
and turn that off for just a moment. Okay.
First, I want to introduce myself, and my name is Sean Skelton, and I'm very real. And unfortunately, this is also very real. I didn't know what else to do other than to just come on live and show everybody what my body is going through at all wakening hours of my day. First and foremost, I want to thank everybody online and my friends and family that have reached out and prayed, because I think that's the only thing we have going for us right now is a prayer. And on Monday, well, let's just say I don't know what's happening to my body, okay? It's a good question to me as it is for you, but I know that on Monday, I was a very functioning person, zero medical issues. I work every day. I've been a CNA for 25 years, and I love my patients. I love my job. I got the COVID vaccine, the Moderna, on January the 4th. On Tuesday, I had mild flu-like symptoms. I went to work. Stomach pains and diarrhea, some, on Tuesday, normal flu-like symptoms. Wednesday, I wasn't feeling good. I wasn't able to go to work. My tongue began to spasm out of control. By Thursday morning, I was in full body convulsions. When I get upset, they get a lot worse. But for the most part, this is my typical day. This is right now. I've even taken 2 Valiums. And this is how much my body just controls to move. And I know I have a lot of support, but a lot of you people on Facebook are really mean. I didn't ask for this. And how do you just wake up one day and your whole world is wrong and it's upside down and no one helps you is beyond me. I can't make sense of it. I can walk, but my legs just bounce. I try to stay positive. I joke around. And I know a lot of you are probably going to be jealous that I have better dance moves than you and I stand up. And that's just me trying to be positive. But tomorrow I'm supposed to go to somewhere in Eastern Kentucky and I think get a shock treatment. But I just appreciate everybody's prayers. Do you want to help me get up and walk? I'm just exhausted. It's exhausting for your body to constantly go like this. But
I can't take anymore. I can't take anymore. When she said, I'm so grateful for all of your prayers because it's all we have, I sat there and I said, I am so angry inside. I'm so angry inside. And that's our fault. That's our fault. The way that we drop the ball over and over and over, the way that we let sin enter in, the way that we allowed the wicked to completely ravage our society, the way that we allowed people under the auspice of supposed freedom to do the most wicked and slave-like things. We allowed it. We allowed it. We watched with a smile on our face and apathy in our heart as our civilization and all of our citizens were going to hell. And now the pipers come, and all we've got is prayer. It's our fault. Mea culpa, mea culpa, mea maxima culpa. It is our fault. Our most grievous, grievous fault. We have to do something. We have to do something, guys. I don't want to see more of that. I know it's coming. More and more and more and more and more, and the liars will keep lying. The deceivers, the stealers, all of the people, the thieves, the wicked. God has turned people over to a depraved mind, and it's our fault. I said yesterday, I swore. I don't swear on this show, guys, remember? I swore yesterday I was so mad, and I was talking to pastors, and I said, you don't do crap. You do nothing. You do nothing. We have been betrayed. Our leaders have turned their backs on us. We must do something. And I'll tell you what. We cannot allow, however we reform this, however we restore this, the idea that we're going back to a world that all of that came from, no way, zero, done with that. Let that burn. I'll let those false ideas and that apathy make its way right down to the fiery pit. Burning as a memorial of all time to a civilization that finally decided it was time to open their eyes and to learn and to resolve deep inside to take the responsibility where it's due and to fight like mad. I almost did it again. To fight like mad. And in the meantime, to learn from her also, to be inspired, but also to learn and say, like my daughter and like so many other amazing young children and so many other amazing people, my sister, other people who are going through terrible things, that they sit there and she's able to make a joke about dance moves because it's her way of remaining happy. Our despair would lead to death. We cannot wallow in despair. We cannot. Because we got to make decisions now. Not only because of all the stuff that we've just talked about, but because the unemployment rate currently is above 20% for the lowest paid workers, according to the feds. We got to look at that. And we got to say, what are we going to do? If we sit around, and I've said this before, I said, we need to get to the point where if our pastors aren't doing it, if our political leaders aren't doing it, then we as men and women of valor, we must do it. We must make sacrifices. Otherwise, dude, welcome to the breadline, folks. It ain't coming back the way it was. These people had a cryptic prophecy when they would say, we're never going back to the old normal. They were right. They were right, not because of the nature of the situation, but because of what they wanted. And because of what we allowed them to do. We allowed it. And why did we allow it? A mixture of factors. Fear, apathy, being naive, thinking, oh, well, it's just a matter of time. We're going right back. No, we are not. We are not. In fact, the trauma that has been done, not only to adults, but to children, this is going to be a transgenerational battle. This is going to be something. These kids, imagine how many kids are going to go throughout their entire life now completely germophobic, freaked out about everything, preferring to live inside of a bubble, inside of some kind of saran wrap. Because we didn't say no. And I get not saying, there was a while when it first happened, I'm a guy who likes to follow the numbers. I don't like to just sit there and say, well, I know. Because a lot of times that's BS. You got to be careful and you got to follow the numbers. I have a methodology on how I look at the world and how, I give things time to figure out. But at some point, you got to say, here are the numbers. We can evaluate this. We can look across the globe. We can look across the country. We can look and see where the ideas on how to mitigate that. Number one, were we right? Number two, are things happening that are way, way worse than the very problem we're trying to solve? And at what point? And it was early on. I mean, it didn't take super long. It took a while. But it didn't take super long before it got to the point where it said, this can't keep going. And the other side said, no, 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 we must. And the difference is that they have institutional power. And we idolized a man, thinking that he had magical powers, that Donald Trump wasn't a human, that somehow he had magical powers. It was all according to a plan. I didn't buy that crap. I'm a realist, man. You know, people are people. Dude, poops and peas. Give me a break. Not even going to worry about that. Screw Kushner. Screw that guy. But we're to the point now, and this has been where it is the whole time. I don't believe, and it's always possible that there was a wake-up moment for them on the left, that it got to the point where they were like, well, this is really about making Americans heal, H-E-E-L. But I have a sneaky suspicion, and I think that there's evidence to demonstrate this, that this has been their plan all along. This has been their plan all along. And they have the power. And we have the fear. And we have the sacrifice. They don't. What's the sacrifice they're going to make? They're the ones who are writing the history books. They're the ones who are enforcing law. They're the ones who are writing law. They're the ones who are maligning people left and right with smears. They're the ones that do phony baloney, fake news and investigations 24/7. They are the masters of the universe. We have something to lose. But ain't that some grit, right? Isn't that maybe one of the most amazing places to be, paradoxically? That we sit there and say, I have a lot to lose. Everything is on the line. But if I don't do something, then I will have nothing left. It's already that we're scrounging around and scraping for any little thing that we can possibly save. I'm going to delete both those.
By the way, I hope you're all paying somewhat attention to the news.
Well, I'm going to skip over that because we're running out of time. So here's the deal. We do have people. We do have people that are standing up. They're very few, and they are going to endure an extraordinary amount of social pressure, even pain. They are right now. What was it, man? What was it recently where they're saying that the U.S. Chamber of Commerce isn't going to fund these MAGA folks anymore? And I'm like, were they in the first place? If they were, dude, get out of here. I don't need your money. You free trading weirdo. Willing to sacrifice American jobs left and right, dude. That's been what they've been about the whole time. They're all about, massive corporate crap. Cheap goods. Everybody's got their trinkets. Get them out of here. But we have to study. We have to study how to pretend to be indoctrinated enough to stay out of the re-education camps. Oh, I needed that one. This is heavy today, isn't it, guys? Oh, do you love this show? If you do, please share it. Let everybody know. I'm putting it out on the line, man. I'm giving it everything I've got. If you believe that this is the kind of message that people need to hear and that can change lives and can spark conversations that can really bring about the restoration, not just the defense of the things that we love, but the marching forward of things that we envision through Christ, that we sit there and say we're taking dominion through the restoration of principles that were brought about through the incarnation, through the death and the resurrection, and the kingship of our Lord. If you're all about that, and that's what you love, and you love this show, you resonate with it. If that's you, send it to your friends. I mean it. Send it to them. Share it like crazy. And if you do, make sure to tag people, because Facebook doesn't want this stuff going around. You share it from Facebook or you share it from YouTube. You know, those are like a dime a dozen. People, they're not going to go and check it out. You tag people. If you really believe, if you think they need to know, don't just trust anyone to, you know, I'm trusting Facebook. I trust Zuckerberg that the algorithm is going to get it to the folks I want. No, take that time. Take that time. Because this is serious business, boys and girls. Serious business. Even though, you know, even though we got this, you know it though.
Their plan now is to divide you.
So, okay, this is MT Media. And I just want to share a couple of these quick things. They're about 30 seconds long each. I agree with most of what he has to say, but I think that, you know what, sometimes other people can say it in ways that more succinctly than me. I could never say what he's going to say here in 30 seconds. I'd have to maybe write it out. I'd have to spend a day working on it and editing it, man. It'd be like a tome that I have to get down to 30 seconds. I'm like, what? Can never do commercial. Well, I guess I can. But even the commercials I've done are like 2 minutes long. So, all right, here we go. Here we go. So, MT Media, and I'll play 3 of them here, okay?
Their plan now is to divide you, and you cannot let that happen. They are going to say a lot of things about what you currently view as your side, and they're going to do that so you will no longer view your side as your side. And make no mistake, you have a side now. It's us or it's them. That's it. That's it. Stop focusing on the distraction groups, the Antifas and BLMs and the Marxist movement. The monster has reared its ugly.
Yes.
It's more apparent in these last few days than ever that the government is narcissistic, insane dictators. And as I say that, I think in my head, can I say that? Is that something I can say? That lets me know right there, the system is absolutely tyrannical. We're questioning now what we can get away with saying, and I shouldn't even say get away. We're questioning now, is that free speech? Is what I'm saying going to get me in trouble? That's a tyrannical government. I ask myself, what happens next? And all I can come up with is, you just got to wait and see. Because they come for you. They come for you when you're alone. But maybe I don't want to be arrested. Maybe I don't want to participate in a tyrannical system. Maybe I don't want to be accused of being a political dissident against an authoritarian state, because that's a very dangerous place to be.
Mm-hmm. So we have to think of them. We have to think of those who say, look, it's easier to blend into the machine than it is to rage against it. And you can't blame everybody for that. I mean, it's not always just pure cowardice. There's all different reasons, all different motivations, all different roles to play. But I know mine. And I know where I stand. And one thing that I'm going to be making increasingly clear is actually, interestingly enough, something that Joe Scarborough says. And I've been a critic of Joe Scarborough for many years. I liked him back with Scarborough Country, and for like half of a second, even on Morning Joe, like a long time ago. But after a while, especially during the Trump era, it was a while where I had a theory about those two right there. And to find out, the guy's a scumbag, right? You know, may even be responsible for the death of somebody inside of his office. But right here, he says they're worshiping an idol. Joe Scarborough says of, quote, too many people who call themselves Christians that follow Trump. And you want to know something? Maybe for once in a very long while, he's actually right. Stop worshiping Donald Trump. And if you don't think you are, ask yourself what kind of power you think he has. He's not an emperor. He sure as heck ain't running like one. So why are you giving him emperor powers? If you want him to run like an emperor, tell him to. Stop playing this old, we're for limited government. We want you to be an emperor. Well, yeah, okay. You can have limited government. It's maybe a straw man. Maybe a straw man. In fact, sometimes under the empire, you might in fact not have too much intrusion. I don't know if that's just a consequence of the times or a consequence of lack of technologies or whatnot. But my whole point is this: is that I know a lot of people that they just sat there all the time and they just trusted that he was going to take care of it. He was going to do it. He was going to make it right. And I remember there was a while I was so hopeful. You know, not naively so. I've always had my criticism. If you want to know where I've stood the whole time, go back and listen to my conversations with David Smalley on Dogma Debate. There are 3 of them, okay? Each one of those, it's like a 2-hour-long discussion, wide-ranging. It's on a whole bunch of stuff: religion, politics, culture, my family, my daughter, her death, everything. I mean, we talk about a lot of stuff, okay? A whole bunch of stuff. But go back and find out. Say, because he asked me, he's like, well, do you just worship Trump? Are you believing in him all the way with everything? And I'm like, no, I've got disagreements, man. I've got disagreements. It resonated with me the night when Trump bombed Syria over that phony gas attack, that phony crap. When he did that, I was furious. I'm like, dude, I've been studying this for too long. This is a joke. I was so glad to see Alex Jones get on there. Dude, he was saying F Trump. F Trump and F his effing family. He was going off. The video is powerful. I'd play it here, but there's a lot of F words on there. But in that moment, I agreed with that. I said, on that issue, yes, dude, the guy made a terrible mistake. He made a terrible mistake by putting Reince Priebus on there. He made a terrible mistake by putting a never-Trumper like Mike Pence on the ticket. Look, what do you say about that? The best excuse people has is, well, he needed the votes of the establishment. How many people do you know? How many people have you ever met that sat there and they're like, the only reason I support Donald Trump is because of Mike Pence? How many? They didn't focus group that one. But if we stop idolizing a person and believing that they have super magical powers, or it's so dramatic that maybe they went back in time in a time machine. Did you hear the story of his uncle? That if you just stop believing that and believing that everything is this manipulative plan and he's this overlord that knows how to do everything, maybe for once you will feel that tug of a thing called personal responsibility. And maybe you will begin doing something instead. Because right now, it looks pathetic, doesn't it? Can we say that? Can I say that out loud without people being like, you hate Trump? To say, doesn't it look really pathetic? And I feel badly for him in a way because I actually predicted this. If you listen to that episode, I said, I agreed with, what is it, Victor David Hansen? Is that his name? Victor Hansen? To sit there and say, he's a tragic hero. I compared him to the tragic heroes of Greek myth. We need to make decisions like dating isn't just dating anymore. We need to realize this. You're picking your potential apocalypse partner, so choose wisely. Choose wisely. This is going to require you to really start thinking, and that's biblical too. There were times where Paul discouraged marriage, for example, to live as though you're not because of the times. We need to realize that it's no longer our job to just wake up the sheep. It's time to wake up other lions. I would say this, though. Sometimes the sheep have wandered, and we need to go get them. Because you know what? If people say, Jeremiah, you're a lion. You're the leader of the pack, man. You're out here. You're just busting a move every single day on this microphone, inspiring people left and right. The truth is, I was one of the lambs that walked away. God used people to bring me back, experiences to bring me back. And we need to do the same for others. So we can't lose sight of that. We still need to wake up the sheep. But we need to realize that there may be a lion that begins to roar in all of them, and maybe even in us. And we need to accept not only that God is that he's the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last, but also to accept that while he's here to bring peace, and ultimately there will be peace. Ultimately, there will be peace, but we have to understand that this is something that is accomplished over time, and it is through this. Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. There will be great division. We can kick that can down the road, but it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And when it finally comes, it's going to be like a boomerang. It's going to be like one of those slingshots. And we need to accept that through this entire process, that the person that we are becoming is going to cost. It's going to cost people, relationships, spaces, material things. Choose your evolution over everything. I would say development. Choose, the way that you're adapting to the situation, the way that you're adapting to the crisis, the way that you're adapting. Choose that. And say, this is the time. God made us for such a time as this. I'm not talking about the Reagan era. I'm not talking about Abraham Lincoln or the founding fathers. I'm saying right now. He made us for such a time as this right now. And the only way we're going to win is if we can benefit from the things of the past, but recognize exactly where we are. And to be willing to say that sometimes the tactics of the past did not work, and sometimes the tactics of the present fail. I was going to put this at the beginning. I think it's the last one, isn't it? Isn't that the last one? Oh, it is. It's the end. Oh, no. Okay. It's the end. It's the end. And we got to remember, look, this is in God's hands. God is a God of providence. God has not been taken off guard by this. We have. But that's why we can trust him. That's why we can trust his design. That's why we can trust his plan. That's why we can trust his blueprint. And that's why we can trust his promise. That's why. And he promises the victory. We're more than conquerors. So go out today. Go out today. Bring all of this with you. Bring all of this with you in that resolve that we do each and every day to say, look, I've been energized, motivated, inspired to be the best me that I can be right now. Not just for myself and the eternal salvation of my own soul, but for all of those around me that I've been blessed, even with the burden of being brought into contact with. And to use all my gifts and talents and everything I do in this world to the best of my ability, with my thoughts, with my words, and with my actions. And that I'll be back tomorrow for Friday's edition of Paleocrat Diaries. Yeah, it's exactly what it is. It's exactly what it is. And it's the end of the show. It's the end of the show, guys. I'm grateful for all of you. I love you guys. What an amazing group of people. I'm so proud of the Wolfpack. I'm proud of this show. I'm proud of what we've accomplished, even in a short time. Because this show is amazing! It's awesome! I love it! And if you love it, make sure, go to paleocratdiaries.com to learn more. It's got a whole bunch of stuff. Watch those videos. They're only available at the website. Go right now. Do not wait. Go right now. Bookmark that page. Save it in your favorites. Do whatever you got to do. You got to make it happen. And go there every day now, because we're going to be making stuff, posting it every day, even new videos. It's going to be awesome. Interviews, speeches, other inquiries. PaleocratDiaries@gmail.com. Check out Paleo Cheese Podcast, as well as Meaning of Catholic, and of course, thisishorror.co.uk. I think is it UK? You got to go there. You got to go there, and you got to nominate the show, Paleo Cheese, as well as the book by Chad. So until next time, never give up. Keep on smiling. And memento mori.
If I don't talk into microphones, I don't make that mad cash. Making all that money. Making that mad loot, right?
Mind control.
So we see the minority elite imposing their ideology on an unwilling and resentful populace. This causes a backlash. People get ticked off. The left is working long and hard to make us feel as if we've done something wrong. Worse yet, that we are the problem. Don't let people just rip on your heritage. Don't let people just rip on your traditions. Don't let people rip on your heroes. Stand up for what you believe, what made you who you are. So unless this disenfranchised majority begins standing up for what they believe in their heart of hearts to be true, I think we'd be left with nothing more than a dirge and maybe a funeral procession.